So, hello everybody, how's everything? Thanks so much for giving me this opportunity to be here with you at pros.com virtual conference for interpreters. So, this is Hamad Amir, and I'm going to be a presenter for today's presentation from non-interpreting to proficient interpreting my success journey. So, let me first introduce myself. I'm a lecturer in translation studies and English linguistics, Egyptian Russian University. I'm also a lecturer in specialized interpreting, Cairo University, a professional Arabic English interpreter at national and international events, most recently as a full member of a Chartered Institute of Linguists and a professional trainer of trainee interpreters and translators. You can scan the following QR codes to get more into me and to get in contact with me. You're free to do that. So, if I started to talk about this presentation, I'm really interested in telling you that this is a journey that I attempted to get into more information and content concerning interpretation and translation. So actually, I was once told by a professor, actually, he is a seasoned translator. He told me that translators cannot turn into interpreters because actually I was planning to be an interpreter one day. So I was told that, but tonight I'll explore how I converted failures, challenges, and pitfalls, and believe me, they are a lot, into stepping stones towards international success. So let me tell you about the myth of impossible transitions, because a lot of people think that transition from translation to interpretation is a mythology. And let me tell you that many seasoned professionals claim that translators cannot successfully transition into interpreting roles. But actually, this proved to be a failure because this misconception merely stems from different skill sets required for each profession. Because actually, in translation, we depend on writing and reading skills, but in interpreting, we have two widely different skills. But actually, there must be a learning phase that you need to have in the middle, and then you can turn from a translator into interpreter. But actually, it's not like a transition. It's more of an adding, or an addition of skills to your own career. So this is very, very important. This transition is not only possible, but it can also lead to a richly rewarding career path that you can one day be proud of. Um, as I mentioned before, I got some degrees that elevated my career. In Egypt, when I got graduated from the Faculty of Arts English Department, actually, Faculty of Arts, it doesn't teach interpreting. We have only translation, written translation. So, formal degree, I got a formal degree in translation, but without having any awareness about interpreting. And even during my master's degree and PhD degree, no interpreting courses whatsoever. This is mainly related to the nature of the Faculty of Arts itself. But during my MA studies, I joined the American University in Cairo. They provided me with a professional diploma in simultaneous interpretation. It was a long, long journey, a daunting one, but actually my academic journey have begun conventionally enough, with university studies focusing entirely on translation, because actually I've been studying translation like from 2006 to 2010, and after that during my MA studies and PhD studies. But after completing my PhD in specialized translation, I made a significant investment in my future by enrolling in a professional diploma program in simultaneous interpretation. It started during the MA studies, and I finalized it during my PhD degree, and that's why I decided to be an interpreter, because actually I wanted to get much skills altogether. So, if one asked me what type of credentials one interpreter needs for the future, I'm not talking about my own background or my own experience as a model, but I'm telling you like story. So I got a PhD in specialized translation. So actually, you're not um, invited to get a PhD degree only to be a translator or an interpreter. It's not like that. But I wanted to be a university professor after that. So actually, I became one. But being a member of an international association, this is very important. So, starting from the national level, locally, I am a member already of the Egyptian Translators and Linguists Association, which we call ETLA or ETLA. And moving from the national level to the international one, I am now a member of the Chartered Institute of Linguists of the United Kingdom. So actually, it's a recognition by prestigious United Kingdom an institute which focuses mainly on linguistic services and translation and interpreting. So this actually helped me build a solid foundation of my professional conditions. This has been very important to establishing my credibility in the competitive interpreting industry, whether in Egypt, in the Middle East, or in the whole region. While my PhD in specialized translation gave me deep linguistic knowledge, membership in professional organizations like I told you before, CIOL or ETLA or even other organizations that I tend to be a member one day. Actually, this connected me with valuable professional networks. So it has been a stepping stone that I depended on, relied on in order to be a credit interpreter one day. So these credentials, yes, they helped me a lot. So if you'd like to put like a roadmap, you can join a national or a local association, and then stepping towards international recognition. This is very important. Um, Also, it's very important to depend on digital platform accreditations. As I mentioned before, I'm an interpreter, and I've been an interpreter for more than 10 years. But the most important leap in my career as an interpreter was getting accredited or approved by digital platforms like Interpretify, Kudu, Applu, and other platforms like Acado, Rafiki, Verispeak. I'm not just telling you about the names of these platforms, but actually these are the most prestigious ones. If you would like to be an RSI interpreter, one day remote simultaneous interpreting, this digital transformation of the interpreting industry, it accelerated dramatically or drastically during the global pandemic, during the time of COVID-19. But actually, in Egypt, we didn't have any opportunity to get into RSI platforms before the pandemic. So actually, during the time of the pandemic, I got the recognition of Interify, Kudu, Aplio, and other platforms, and actually, this made a revolution. This has been revolutionary to my career as an interpreter. So these accreditations, they really demonstrate the technical proficiency beyond linguistic skills. So it's not like writing, reading, or even speaking and listening English or Arabic very well, but actually all about technology, the download and upload speed of your own service provider, different skills, the technology that you provide to yourself, and also the plateau, the technological plateau that you have in your office or in your workplace. So this is very important. Stepping from that to the reality of professional development, it has been very important in my career to invest in certain programs, in certain commitments. Um, you need to know that professional training or getting training programs is very important, but actually it requires significant financial commitments. This poses a burden on translator or interpreter's life in general. But financial investment actually, like it's like a seed, like you plant it today and the day after tomorrow you can get a plant, a pretty green, healthy plant. So, my advice to all of you to spend money on professional development. Yes, it's very important and it's worthy. This is pretty important. Sometimes reaching thousands of dollars for specialized courses, especially in our specialty. Also, time commitment. I do remember that even before my marriage, I was pretty busy all the day translating, moving from translations to interpretations. This has been a time commitment, but even after marriage life, you get much tighter time commitment. So developing your interpreting skills demands hundreds of practice hours. So you can imagine when you're married, you got children, and then you also need to train yourself on different atmosphere, different accents and dialects. And finally, with the emotional resilience, like this is more like a journey. It involves facing frequent rejection, criticism, and I couldn't count how many times I got my CV rejected for reasons. Yes, a lot of them are related to me. Some mistakes I committed in my CV writing, lack of experience, lack of expertise, not being the appropriate candidate enough. But actually, uh, it's not end of the world. That you need to know that. It's not end of the world. You'll keep rejected even now, if you are experienced enough, if you have the expertise enough, you can still get rejected. So also receiving feedback, maybe a harsh feedback from peers on your translation and interpretation, that this is actually it reflects your own emotional resilience. So beyond the financial aspect, there must be countless hours of practice. As I told you before, this has been very important and necessary to build my own mental stamina and quick thinking abilities that distinguish abilities. Exceptional interpreters. This journey demanded emotional resilience through numerous failures and setbacks, and as I told before, they are a lot, but actually at worthy by the end. Um, in order to get more into the interpreting career, you have three pillars that you need to depend on. Number one, simultaneous interpretation. Yeah, this is the tip of it, the tip of the pyramid, simultaneous interpretation. Number two, consecutive interpretation, and at the base of the pyramid, sight interpretation, sight translation. So actually, I'm teaching this at university, and you can see that we have three courses. One course for signed interpretation and consecutive interpretation. And this is number one. And number two, also sight interpretation, consecutive interpretation, but it's more advanced. And one course on simultaneous interpretation. So actually, if you'd like to be an interpreter one day, I think this is the roadmap that you need to follow. Studying sight interpretation, moving then to consecutive interpretation, after that, finally with the simultaneous one. But let me tell you a very important thing that it's not a condition that you start with a sighting consecutive. Actually, you can just step into simultaneous interpretation but directly. It's not like condition. So, but actually, people would like to get step by step into the career side, consecutive, and then simultaneous by the end. So if we compared our if I compared between the three types of interpretation, I'd like to tell you that consecutive interpretation specifically, it was the one that taught me how to develop my own enhanced memory techniques and note-taking systems that also served the simultaneous interpretation skills. This also captured like capturing meaning more than words. We have a rule in interpretation that we always say the first word you have in mind. You can learn this particular skill in consecutive interpretation before simultaneous interpretation. The most challenging thing about the comparative or the comparison between consecutive interpretation and simultaneous is all about the splitting or split attention abilities to listen, to process, to speak simultaneously in the same time. It's all about memory and then active listening. So, my advice here to all novice interpreters, those who would like to join us in the industry, it's not a condition to start with consecutive and then I move to simultaneous, but actually, it's way much better to start in the same order that I told you: side, consecutive, and finally with the simultaneous one. Um, some international organizations that I worked with um, after gaining more like 7 years of experience, 5 to 7 years of experience. My experience including working with the United Nations agencies, some regional bodies, some specialized agencies, national institutions. But actually, I started with the national institutions in the beginning, like the Egyptian presidency, also online as a remote simultaneous interpreter with the United Kingdom government, and also Bibliotheca Alexandria. This has been very important to build on in order to reach out to international organizations. I do remember during the time of COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt here, it was a very important step in my life to be an interpreter in such a prestigious and an important event. So it was first polished by working with its specialized agencies like the WIPO, ICC, International Chamber, like the ECOSOC of the United Nations, and before that, the ECOSOC of the African Union. Also, regional bodies like the African Union Commission, COMESA, European Union. And then after that, working as an interpreter, as a full-time interpreter of the IOM, the International Organization for Migration. This has been rewarding, but all that started nationally. So, first step, we thought about moving from side to consecutive to simultaneous interpretation, but after that, step number two, moving from the national plateau into the regional plateau, and then into the international plateau. So it's not like, yes, I'm moving internationally. No, 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 it's not like that. You need to take it step by step, moving from national to regional to international. This will make you create your own name, create your own career, your own career path, and then of course your experience and expertise exposure, of course. United Nations system experience, this has been very important in my career, because actually I've been working with the United Nations system but in different ways. Because actually, this represents a pinnacle achievement for many interpreters, by the way. But actually, for me, it has been very important because I see myself like I'm destined to be an interpreter of the United Nations one day. My experiences with organizations like United Nations Climate Change Convention, like UNFCCC, UN ODC, like the IOM, as I told you before, they shaped the way I think, the way I feel, the way I plan for my future. So these assignments, whether they are full-time, part-time, or even freelance, they actually involve intricate diplomatic language, highly technical terminology, and strict protocols. Success in such environments require more than linguistic excellence, but all about cultural sensitivity, ability to work seamlessly with interpreters from diverse backgrounds. I have African people people from America, people from Asia, from Europe, different backgrounds, different languages, and different minds. So this has been very rewarding. During the time of COP27, the climate conference in Sharm el-Sheikh here in Egypt, actually, I managed to provide escort interpreting to different delegations, mostly with African countries like Gabon, like I don't remember Cameroon, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. Um, Escort interpretation is one time of consecutive interpretation. Actually, you are providing interpretation consecutively, but in a type of escort, like you're going away with a delegation, you provided the interpretation to it. So this has been one of the most challenging and rewarding experiences in my career. This massive international event brought together world leaders, scientists, activists, policymakers to Egypt to address global climate crisis. And you can imagine the pressure put on an interpreter to be an interpreter in such a conference. So, if you have experience, if you have the exposure, if you have the linguistic excellence, actually, it's not enough. You need to have the cultural background, the organizational culture itself, what the United Nations look like, how it works, its own internal system, its routine, daily routine, and so on. It's been very difficult to me to understand its system, but actually, I worked for like 18 days. It's been very short, but this is the total duration of the full duration of the conference itself. But actually, during the 18 days, I managed to create relations with the principals, with the officials in the United Nations, and after that, I got recommended as an interpreter to work in different platforms after that. So actually, one of the most important skills for interpretation or for interpreters is that they need to understand that their work is not limited to their own current um, stage or level or event, but actually you need to plan for the future every single event. Um, Also, moving from the regional level to the international level, I've been working with the GIZ, the German Development Agency, with the UNDP office, the regional office here in Egypt, and most recently with the International Disability Alliance. All of these have been very rewarding in in the tangible impact of its work, because actually you have effective interpretation. This can directly contribute to improving the lives of a lot of people through better program implementation and more inclusive policies. Actually, you are responsible for providing the language which reaches this particular message. And my own, I don't believe in the word or on the idea that an interpreter that it needs to have a certain specialty. Yeah, a lot of people and even a lot of my students ask me, do you advise us to be like medical interpreters, only medical interpreters one day, educational interpreters, diplomatic interpreters? Actually, I always advise them to, yes, you can do this one day, but actually, in the beginning, during the first like 5 to 7 years, you need to work in different arena, different levels, different accents, different dialects, different specialties, majors. This is very important to get more into more knowledge into uh, the industry itself. So, if I considered myself a specialized interpreter, this I don't like this, but actually, if one asked me if I'd like to describe myself or to talk about myself as a specialized interpreter, I like to be described as an educational interpreter. Yes, it's very close to my own career as a university professor, but actually, I have been responsible for interpreting all STEM meetings and conferences here in Egypt. STEM education initiatives that been brought by the American government to Egypt, to different Arab countries. They actually This has allowed me to contribute to knowledge transfer across linguistic boundaries. These assignments have been like several years involving interpreting complex academic concepts, physics, chemistry, mathematics, language in fields ranging from artificial intelligence to archaeological preservation. This has been very important. So, F, I told you about this has been a study that I've been crunching numbers about the specialties that I have been working, or the main fields I've been working as an interpreter. Mostly for diplomacy and international relations, because actually I was once, still, by the way, still an coordinator of international relations and conferences in one or at one of the most important and prestigious places here in Egypt. But now I'm on a leave. But actually, I was a coordinator of the international relations with African countries. This involved a lot of interpretation and translation at the same time. So this has been mostly the biggest part of my career. And in second level, climate and environment. Maybe after that, development, human rights, economics, finance, education, culture, technology, innovation, and after that, other. Other includes healthcare and medicine. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. Yeah, let me be honest with you. I'm not expert in medical and healthcare interpretation, so this would be other. So, um, developing this is what we call an investment. This investment in knowledge acquisition has been crucial to me to handle technical discussions with accuracy and confidence. So, moving after that to working from on-site to hybrid dominance after COVID-19 pandemic. Um, it was my decision to pursue accreditation on multiple RSI platforms like Enterprise, Kudu, Ablio, Acado, and others. They mainly positioned me advantageously during this transition. These digital competencies expanded my geographical reach because actually I live here in Cairo in Egypt, but actually I don't have any access to conferences in London, in Geneva, in Paris, in America, or in different places. But actually, working online have been very important and a game changer to me. It allowed me to serve clients globally without the limitations of physical travel because actually this is very costly and the industry nowadays it's not welcoming paying the costs of travel and accommodation and so on. But actually this has been rewarding to my own technical and ergonomic considerations. I bought a lot of technology, means printers, scanners, new routers, new modem servers, new tech things in order to work online much better. And finally, with some technical challenges that you may feel they are pressing themselves against you in remote interpretation, we have four technical challenges. Number one, connectivity issues. Here in Egypt, in the Middle East, it's not the best thing. We have a lot of problems with that, but actually, it's now somehow developing. But you need to have your own soul and um, unlimited internet access. So this will ensure stable, the most stable, let me call it stable internet connection without any um, disconnectivity or something like that. This will be embarrassing. Number two, audio quality. Yes, if you are living in a place that is overcrowded, you have vendors on the streets, you have a family, you have babies, you have children, you have a lot of noises around you. You need to manage variable sound quality from different participants and sources. I'm not only talking about accents and dialects, but actually the noises around you, so the ergonomic atmosphere or the background in your place is very important. Home office optimization. This has been very important to me. I've been talking about this. Yes, your own office, your own library, your own, even the pens and papers, even the cups, even the scanners, printers, the tablets, the mobile phones, the routers, technology around you, the home office optimization. This will take years. This will take a lot of money, but this is worthy. And finally, the platform synchronization. So this will help you coordinate seamlessly with platform technicians and co-interpreters remotely. Yes, I'm talking to a certain person. Could you please advise me on how we can deal with such a different accent, a difficult accent or difficult dialect? If you're talking to a certain co-interpreter, you can actually gain much experience how to deal with such hardships and difficulties, and also with technicians because you may have some discrepancies concerning the sound quality, the input or the output sound quality. This is very important to understand as an interpreter. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to talk about my um, not so long career, but a rewarding one where I managed to move from a translator into an interpreter. I'm still working as a translator, by the way, but actually it's not like a transition, but like adding to my own career. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. One doesn't get the privilege to be here with Prowzy.com every day. Thank you so much, and I hope you got something new from me. Thank you, and see you later. Bye bye.